Hello and welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing wonderful.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, now, still a little bit before the top of the hour, but not sure how many people. This is the first one. I've only announced it for a few people. I think I have maybe a dozen people signed up, so we'll see how many show up.
Well, I know Bob Lambert sent it to me, so I think he's planning on attending.
Great. And there's people slowly entering. Hello, Sam. Hello, Chris. Hey. And while we're waiting for a few other people for the top of the hour, if you have anything to add or ask or say, it's open mic until I decide to not.
Thanks for having us, Chuck. I'm just off camera for a bit.
Oh, thanks, Sam. Appreciate you showing up. Like I was telling Cheryl, there are about a dozen people that subscribed or registered, and so we'll see how many come in, and we'll get going probably, give it till about two or three after to start.
Okay, no problem.
I'm here, whatever works for you, Chuck.
Awesome. Now the fun thing is making sure I have all these settings and everything set up. I'm so used to
Presenting
doing
is not as easy as it seems, is it?
I know. I'm so used to doing individual one-to-ones, and these group ones are kind of something I haven't done for about a year, and so um, getting back into the swing and making sure that everything is working. And this is going to be recorded if you don't mind, and I'll have the
No problem.
recordings available. I'll probably end up posting them originally on YouTube, but I may also use Wistia. So, but they will be available, and I'll send out some other stuff.
Very cool.
Good. So, got a few more people. Hey, Bob.
Hey, Chuck. Oh, Cheryl.
Hey, Bob.
Cheryl is a colleague of mine, so
She mentioned that you sent the invite.
I tried to get it out, Chuck, so you could have a good
Hey,
show here.
thank you. Like I said, there's about a dozen people that registered, and I'll go for. Uh, in fact, let's just get going now.
Okay.
Okay, so let me do a screen share and go into this. To present. So what I want to do is this is going to be kind of interactive. I want to start with just a presentation, do talk about some of the various aspects of what prompting is all about, and then dive into just showing you examples using ChatGPT Live. Now, in my experience today, OpenAI, ChatGPT seemed a little bit slow, so I'm not sure if it's something that's going to happen in here, but Claude and Perplexity seem to be working fine. So if things seem a little slow, I blame it on OpenAI. Okay, so today what I want to talk about is how you can learn to talk to AI so it actually helps you. If you have just started using, or if you're a light user of LLMs, you'll probably know that the output isn't always that great. And a lot of times it's because it doesn't understand the context that you're trying to tell it of what you want. And so by using frameworks, the one that I'm going to talk about today is called Create. So you get used to the habit of using a system to get better results. There's a lot of different frameworks out there. Before I started using Create, I created my own that I called Craft, but they all basically cover the same type of things. And as long as you get to understand the pieces that are important for what you want to convey, it'll work for you better every time you do it, whether it's for writing, analysis, brainstorming, problem solving, whatever you want to use it for. You may use different pieces. You don't always have to use every part of the framework, but as long as you understand the pieces that have impact, you'll want to use those when you build your prompts. Before we start, every result is different. Every time you put the same command into the same LLM, you're going to get different results, because AI, if you don't understand what it is, it takes all the data that it's learned from and it turns that into vectored data. And so when you type something in, it researches, looks for patterns based on what you are entering and tries to match and predict what would come next. And so if you put the same prompt in twice, you're going to get different results because of where it computed and how it computed and where it was in its vectorization of data. And so everybody's going to be different, whether you're on ChatGPT or a different version of ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity or whatever one you want. The good thing is that the more you do it, the better you're going to get. And this is all about building confidence in your prompts, so you get to understand that you don't just write one sentence. You can write multi-paragraphs and books of long prompts to get the results that you want. These results, of course, are not typical for everything. They're illustrative. And like I just mentioned, you're always going to get different results. And so always, with anything AI, always have that human interaction. Never trust what comes out, because they are known to hallucinate, make things up, sound very confident in their hallucinations. It's not often, it's getting better, but it's also something that seems to be, as some researchers think, built into it. And so we never know really what's going on behind the scenes. So today, I'll give you some practical techniques. I'll show you the Create framework, and then show you some hands-on practices that I'll show you results of using these frameworks. If you stay until the end, I'll give you a link to a Google Drive that has the Create Framework Guide, a prompt engineering guide, 44 prompts for various tasks, and how to get better results instantly. So there are a bunch of PDFs to store away that you'll probably look at once and maybe never use again, but they're resources for you. And so me, I'm a certified AI trainer. I've been in the software tech industry for 30 plus years. I've done lots with systems implementations, process automation, business automation. Spent many years with IBM doing a lot of systems implementation of backup systems, software distribution systems, and things like that. Went over to WebMD Health Services and started doing processes and figuring out how to do health incentive programs to help people cut their insurance costs by staying healthy. Did a lot of projects for companies like Maine Health and Blue Cross Blue Shield and Union Pacific and Boeing. And then I did a bunch of other work with some e-commerce firms, and then I got out of high tech and decided to start doing smaller stuff and startups and things like that. So I like to apply my systems knowledge and expertise into helping small business owners understand how they can apply systems to get better results in their work. The big problem with enterprises working with AI is that systems and processes also leads to bureaucracy and a lot of overhead, multi-stakeholders, guiding direction in wrong directions. And so sometimes that systems and processes get too big and it bogs things down, whereas the smaller companies, they keep chasing shiny objects, and then they don't have those systems in place. And so they get nothing gets traction because they keep trying new things. And so I try to merge those systems to small businesses to help them understand how they can be more efficient by applying those processes and systems. So this is some data that I picked up 2 weeks ago or so. OpenAI and Anthropic, who is the owner of Claude, both released some studies about where people are using LLMs nowadays. And what they found is that individuals are now, their dominant use is writing, guidance, and learning. Writing is going to be things like creating thank you emails and writing content and stuff like that. But it's slowly moving from create something brand new into review what I have, edit it, and help me make it better. And so it's still in the writing, but people are using less for the initial creation and more for editing and improving. But they're also using it for a lot of things like I have a problem with my car. Help me fix this leak or this sound, or faucet is dripping. So they're using it more for household chores, how to plan a garden, how to create a recipe based on the items in my refrigerator. You know, using it for more practical uses. It's not really a business thing. And 80% of the chat messages going through OpenAI right now are a lot of information seeking and not necessarily business information. A lot of people are using it for personal things, but it is very creative. Blogs, study help. OpenAI just started doing things like flashcards and things like that to help people study, so people aren't using it to cheat. They're using it to actually learn. And it's mostly augmentation, where AI helps you, but humans are still very involved in the initial go and the final say. Whereas small businesses, they're kind of in the in-between spot. They're using it more for content creation and workflow automation. So they're not only doing the blogs and newsletters and customer replies, but they're also doing it to lead follow-up and things like AIs or chatbots to handle customer support and guide people in different directions. And so they're starting to do more with tinkering between the personal use and the enterprise and trying to free time and make them look bigger than they are, make it look like they have more resources, taking advantage of the power of AI to do more with less. Whereas enterprises tend to be more in the real automation and coding. So 77% of the Claude API interactions are with helping code, improving code, reviewing it, troubleshooting, diagnosing, things like that. And so in the enterprise, Claude is more dominant than OpenAI or ChatGPT, and it's a lot more with coding. So as it says here, with enterprises, 44% is versus coding with Claude versus 4% of coding with ChatGPT. Today, or actually last night, Anthropic released Claude Sonnet 4.5, which is even more code heavy, better for that, and it's also writing, good for writing. So Claude just did a nice little upgrade last week. OpenAI did an upgrade and their coding got better. And so they're always in a battle, but it used to be months before they had comparison. Now it seems days or weeks before they get their parity. So just the direction. ChatGPT tends to be better or more popular for individuals and SMBs, whereas Claude tends to be more enterprise. And that's just a general, those are the two biggest ones. Right now, there's a bunch of different ways that you can use LLM models. ChatGPT 5 with OpenAI, again, best for general tax, agentic coding, automating reporting, and things like that. Anthropic's Claude is better for long runs with 4.5. They actually tested agents running for up to 30-hour tasks and not losing its place and not understanding. And so some of these workflows can really be enterprise grade, and they do have guardrails and policy sensitive tasks that can be applied more so than what OpenAI has at this time. If you're in the Google Workspace world, then Gemini becomes the more popular. Gemini is really nice because they have these huge windows, and if you hear these context windows of 1 million tokens, or actually Gemini is now up to 2 million tokens, and what tokens are can kind of be similar to words. But when you vectorize data within an LLM, it takes chunks of 4 to 8 characters, and those characters could be spaces or syntactical things, whatever. It's not necessarily a word, but it generally comes down to a word is 4 to 8 characters, or a token is 4 to 8 characters. And so you can think of 1 million words or 2 million words, and so you're talking like half a set of encyclopedias that you could have Gemini deal with at one time. So those windows are really huge. And so for analyzing proposals, audits, FAQs, workplace integration, Gemini is really great for that. And so it's included with Workplace, and so it's a given there. Meta's Llama is completely different. Llama is open source. It's something you can download. And so if you have a local program like LM Studio or Ollama, you can actually download these models like Meta's Llama or DeepSeek, and you can run them locally. And so they're trained only on your data. They're not going out to the internet or doing anything, no searching the internet. They're based only on the documents that you trained it on. And so that gets into what's called RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. And so it's based on the materials you put in, and it's only doing the research and work with your data. Mistral is a very interesting one out of France. The nice thing about that is it's multilingual, and it does the reasoning. And so if you do a lot of multi-language operations, if you need to translate into Farsi or Hindi or something like that, Mistral is really good with multi-language reasoning. Perplexity is completely different because it's focused more on research. It's really nice because you can, when you do research, it has just all the sites that it searched. It gives citations for everything. It shows all of the links. It shows the logic it used to come up with something. And if you currently have a subscription, if you use PayPal or Venmo, you can look at their current offers and you can get Perplexity Pro for 1 year. It's a $200 package for free. So as long as you order it through one of those, you can get Perplexity Pro free for a year. And then Grok is completely different. Grok is X's, and they're very integrated with social listening. It's the one with hardly any guardrails on it. Some people like that. It's good for creator engagement, but again, Grok you'll hear about, and that's X's version, or Elon Musk's version. Okay, so now off of that, let's get back into prompting. So why does prompting seem so hard? It's because there's a lot of jargon. You'll hear things like the few-shot learning or chain of thought reasoning. And if all you want to do is write an email, you don't really care or think about chain of thought or something like that. Few shots, one shot, multi-shot. Those are just ways of iterating. And there's a lot of random trial and error. Just trying something, getting a random result, and not being happy with it, and then saying, these AIs aren't worth my time because they're not getting consistent results. And oftentimes you get that blank piece of paper. How do I start? What do I say? How do I do this? And a lot of people think there's some formula that you need to do, but the best thing to do when you approach these is to just use them. Dive in, start questioning it, asking it, going back and forth. The good news is that here's where Create comes in. So, any questions so far?
Yeah, Chuck, I missed where do you get Perplexity Pro through who?
Oh, if you have an account with Venmo or with PayPal,
Okay,
both of them offer offers. So somewhere on
Okay.
their page you have offers, and then under offers, search for Perplexity, and then you will find the offer for, I believe it's good into November. I think mid-November it expires, but then you do get a 1 year. It's a $200 pro plan for the year. And right
Thank
now
you.
it's $20 a month, and so if you do it monthly, it's $240 savings.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Chuck.
Sure. Anyone else? Cool. Okay, so let's look at the Create framework. And as I said, Create right now stands for context. What is your situation? What are you trying to find out? The result is your R. Say exactly what you want is output. That could be, I want a table, I want a spreadsheet, I want a PDF, I want a document, I want a review of bullet pointed items. That's your output format. The explanation, any important details or requirements, whether it's in the context or in the results. You should always talk about who you're writing this for. Say that you're writing a general thing. You want to write to a sixth grade audience, or you want to write to PhD students, or, if you specify who it's for, you're going to get better results. How should it sound? You add your tone. Should it be formal? Should it be casual? Should it be witty? I want it conversational. You can tell it what sort of output you want, and it will modify the results. And then the expansion is, again, alternatives, options, more ideas, anything that you can explain. Because with AIs and the LLMs, generative AI, I should say, because there's so many different AIs, but generative AI, the more context you give it, the better results are going to be. And so I like to tell people that it is like the smartest intern that you will ever hire. They know everything about everything, but they know nothing about how you want to do your business or what you want. And so the more context you can give the AI, the better generative results you're going to get. And so that's why using these formulas now, like I said, I had one that I use called CRAFT, and that is context, roles, and what was it? Contact, role, audience, format, and tone. And so similar to results and audience. The role is another one that's really good that isn't in this one, but when you start out your prompt, you can say, I want to be, or I want you to be an expert marketing individual with 30 years of experience in customer psychology. And then that's going to frame how it's going to be. So you can not only tell it who you're writing for, but you can tell it who you're writing as. And so if you want to be a professor of psychology, that's how your context is going to be formatted. If you want to be a master mechanic dealing with ovens, you're going to be an oven specialist that will get those results on how to fix appliances. So you can say who you want to be and who you want to write for. And so those are all important when you come up with your context. And so with that, I'll show you how to go from random prompts and messy answers to adding context and getting better results using the full create with clear output things and complex. And so from this point, I'm going to switch out of this and go to ChatGPT. Now, did that switch over? Are you seeing my ChatGPT? Yes, okay. So again, they're all very similar. This is what ChatGPT looks like. You have your new chats and you have a library that you can go to. The codex is their programming stuff, but it'll show you any GPTs, which are custom formatted prompts that are already packaged that you don't have to do much with. And then you can go into projects, which I'll talk about in a bit, and then you have your history of chats. Now, if you go into Perplexity, the same type of thing. Perplexity looks a little bit different, but you still have your home. You have all different types of things. They give you the ability to go shopping and do different searching, and you can do discovery, and but you still have spaces, which are like projects. And so Perplexity looks very similar. This is doing research. It'll create these graphs automatically. Here's one I did some research on: competitive analysis of no-code app building products. There's so many out there. I want to hear the difference between all of these different ones. Look for pricing, usage costs, functions, integrated database support, and stuff like that. And so it did a complete analysis of where these people are, what their sizes are, how they connect, and then going on, and then here's their feature comparison. And so this is the type of report that you'll get from Perplexity. Pretty much in-depth, hard research. Sam, did you have a question?
Can you make your screen a little bit bigger, Chuck?
I will. Let me do. How's that?
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, so that is Perplexity. And then the other one is Claude. Oh my God. Claude, again, is the same type of thing. You have your projects, you have artifacts, and then you have your history of all of your prompts that you've done. And so very similar, they're all the same, but I'm going to focus on ChatGPT right now. So again, with ChatGPT, one thing that you're going to want to do, now this will work whether you're in the free version or a paid version. Whether you're in free or not, you have to create an account. And so once you have an account, you can go into your settings. Settings and personalization used to be different, but now you select either one and it's pulling up the same screen. So what you want to do here are a few different things in ChatGPT, and again, Perplexity and Claude have similar types of settings that you can do to customize it for your needs. And I'll show you the difference between customization that really makes a difference. But the things that you'll want to do is if you talk to it, you can play different sounds and it can respond back. And so, for example, here is,
Hey, what's up? Feel free to ask me about anything that's on your mind. I'm ready.
so here,
Hey, what's up?
Saul. So just to give you an idea, if you
Hey.
want to talk to it,
Hey, how's it going? I'm looking forward to working together.
so you can respond, have it talk to you back and forth. Talking is a really easy way because for me, I kind of stutter with my fingers. My typing isn't the best, but so I like to talk to it. But there's certain people that you can't talk in your office and can't talk to it. And so sometimes you just can't do that. But if you have the ability, if you're in an office that you can talk, talking really does get the idea system flowing, you're brainstorming, it works really well. So kind of weird when you start out, but I recommend trying to speak to it. Going into notifications, was it? No. Enable customization. So when you go into personalization, you can enable your customization, which is a good thing to do, but then you can also choose your personality. And so you can tell it, do you want it to be a cheerful and adaptive? Do you want it to be a cynical, critical, sarcastic response? Do you want to be efficient and blunt, thoughtful and supportive, or exploratory? And so you can set the overall chat personality. And then here's where it gets really good. You can set all your instructions. You have this big window that you can tell it how you want it to do things and how you want it to respond to you. And so here is the custom instructions that I put in, and it's just saying what depth, what sources to use, what examples, do clarity, focus on articles, do teamwork approach. And so it just tells you how you want it to be. And then if you want, you can tell it to know your name, what your occupation is, more about your job. You can have all of this background, and then you can reference memories. And so there's a lot of different things that you can do. The more you can train it yourself, it remembers your memories, it remembers everything else about you. And so here's a really useful thing for personalization. The last one is under data controls. Data controls improve your model for everyone. I turn this off. If you turn it on, ChatGPT or OpenAI is grabbing all of your conversations and using it to train. And so personally, I turn it off. I don't want them knowing about all my stuff. They do save your chats, but they're not training on it. And so you do have the ability to archive and things like that. But if you improve the model for everyone, they're actually using whatever you type in, whether it's client information or personal information, they're using that for their training materials. And so I would highly recommend to turn the model off if you're privacy concerned. So that's in the customization. The next thing you want to do is look at projects. Projects are really cool because what you can do is you can have collections of prompts within a project, and you can add files as additional context. So each project you can add files to, and they'll always reference, once you're in that project, you can have all of the files referenced along with all of the chats within that project. And so, for example, I do it by products. So I have a product EngageCraft suite. I have one for training and workshops. I have one for all my social and blogs. I have one for doing just LinkedIn. And so I have all of these different projects, and some of them have files attached, but it's always within the context of that project to organize things, and it works out really well that way. Okay, so now let's go into the craft idea. And so I'll just start now. Normally, a beginner is going to do something like, and here I'm going to actually use a chat or a Chrome plugin called Voice In. And so what I like to do with Voice In is to talk to it. And so you can use the microphone if you want. That's one way of doing it, but I use the Voice In because the Voice In works on Chrome in general. So any apps you can use the Voice In. And so let's just start a new chat outside of anything. See, it already knows my name because I told it that. And so I'll use Voice In, and I'll be a beginner. I have a coffee shop. Write something that I can post on Facebook. And so we'll send that. And it's just going to come with morning start better here, whether you're feeling up for work. You know, a simple post that is nothing really special about it. So if I want to use the craft approach or the create approach, you can do the context. And so now for context, say that I have a neighborhood coffee shop and I want to write an Instagram post, but I want to highlight a new caramel latte special. And the audience is going to be young professionals and the tone and stuff. And so here I'll now change this to be, I own a local neighborhood coffee shop and I want you to write a short Instagram post. Highlight our new caramel latte special. I'm focusing on the young professionals in the area. I want this to be warm and inviting, and give me 3 variations, one of which is going to be witty and sharp. So turn that off, and why did that not take it? I have to do that all over again. Sorry about that. I have a neighborhood coffee shop. I want you to write a short Instagram post. There we go. I want you to highlight our new caramel latte special, focusing on young professionals who are in the area. Make it warm and inviting. Give me 3 variations, one of which is witty. So now here, it's going to go through and you have 3 different ones. And so now it's saying, if you looked at the first one, it was more, whether you're feeling up to work, there's nothing personalized. Need some me time. It's okay, but there's nothing special about your company. So here's our caramel lattes, here to sweeten your workday, smooth espresso, velvety milk, the touch of ripe caramel. You know, it sounds a little more inviting. It's more casual, just because I said it's talking to the kids. Where is it? Here's the professional vibe. Movers and shakers, laptop, open dreamers. Meet your new sidekick, our caramel latte, bold espresso caramel comfort, crafted for long mornings and quick escapes. So you can see that by adding that additional context, additional audience, it really changes the vibe of this. Now let me go here. I'm going to copy this and show you just a difference. I'll go into a new incognito window and go into ChatGPT. Don't want Chase, I want Chat. And so here, I'll log in as someone different. And like I said, OpenAI is kind of slow today. There we go. And so now just to show you the difference, I'll do that same long command with no customization, no personalization, and it still comes up with 3, but it is a little less warm and inviting and less chatty. So this is, let's just do the witty. Warning, our caramel latte may cause sudden productivity spikes, extended coffee breaks, and irresistible caramel carvings. So that's actually pretty good. Proceed with delicious caution compared to the one that we had here, movers, shakers, laptop dreamers. So yeah, they're both pretty good, but with the personalization based on how I wanted it to specify shorter sentences with some idioms and stuff like that, it just is a little bit different. And so there's not a huge difference, but it does make a slight difference. And so that's all I wanted to show you about the difference in that. Now say that, again, this is just a social media post. Say that you wanted to, you have, want you to write a business newsletter for my marketing agency. Now it knows that I had a marketing agency before, and so it's just going to sketch something out. It has my memory. It's all clear to you, straight to your inbox. Here's some subject ideas. Here's a header, and it's opening. But again, it's kind of generic, but it knows a bunch about me. And so it does give ideas. But if I were to instead add more context, what it's going to do, I run a small accounting business. Write an opening paragraph for a monthly client newsletter. Focus on quick tax tips for small business owners. The audience is local entrepreneurs who need help with taxes. Be helpful, clear, professional, but not boring. Give me 2 different styles. And it still didn't do that. Sorry about that. I'll try that again. I have to remember to click into the box. So, once again, I run a small accounting business. Write an opening paragraph for a monthly client newsletter. Focus on quick tax tips for small business owners. They're local entrepreneurs who are having problems with taxes. Be helpful, clear, and professional, but not boring. And give me 2 different styles. And we'll write that one. So here's a friendly and authority. Here's approachable but not boring. Do you want me to sketch recurring structure for the whole newsletter? Okay, and that was again just the opening. I asked for the opening paragraph. And so again, it gives you the 2 different options, clear and professional or conversational and engaging. Again, having more context just creates better output. So the more information you can give it, the better results you're going to get. Let's just do one more. Here's one. That will be, write a blog about being productive. How to be productive without burning out. Again, this is probably maybe, looks like 150 words or so. It's asking, do you want to be SEO friendly with headlines and stuff like that? So it's prompting you to make it a little bit better without adding any additional context. However, if I wanted it to be better from the onset, I'm a career coach who writes short blogs for busy parents. Draft a 500-word blog post. Share 3 simple productivity tips that can be done in 10 minutes or less. The audience is going to be parents juggling work and family. Make it encouraging and yet practical. Offer a version in a list format and another in short paragraphs. Again, you can see now you're telling it what sort of format you want, what the length is going to be, adding all of this. And so version 1, these are both going to be 500-word blog posts. So now here's 3 productivity wins that you can grab in 10 minutes or less. The 10-minute reset, the clear 1 nagging task, the micro declutter your space ideas. Here's a version with short paragraphs. Parents rarely get long stretches. Start with a reset list. So it's the same content in different formats. So whichever format you like better, you can do. And again, it's saying, do you want this to be SEO friendly? And so it'll go through and continue to help you along. And that's where you get into the iterative mode. And so once you get a result, you don't have to accept that. You can go on and you can say, can you provide some resources to see now, so I don't type. So again, you want to add on to either of those. Continue to iterate, continue to ask for more questions, some more help. Here's now books to look at, articles and blogs that you can use as citations for that blog post to make it more authentic, more credible. You can now go through and take that, add your own wording to that, have some blogs that or articles that you can reference, and that just makes the entire blog more credible. So again, just adding more and more and more helps. So now, one last thing to look at here is to a really complex one. And so I'm going to copy and paste this because it is a bit more long, but just to show you that oftentimes you should go ahead and start writing these outside of the prompt and get a more complete prompt, or you can go through and iterate and go back and forth. But if you can write it ahead of time, or just create formats, formulas, and copy and paste, it really saves a lot of time if you find something that works for you. And so this here is for a, let's see here, a hosting a local community event with a day and time, help small businesses showcase their products at a weekend market. I want to have a full planning outline. Here's the event description for a flyer. I want a simple table with timeline of tasks. I want a sample promotional post for media, social media, a descriptive idea for the flyer, and social post graphics. Keep everything easy to understand. Timeline should have clear steps that anyone can follow. Small business owners is your audience. Give me 2 variations for these social media posts. And so you can see this one has a lot more information. It's asking not only for the event description, but it also wants a table. It wants a promotional post. It wants image descriptions. And so you're including a lot of different tasks for that one single prompt. So the first thing it does, it creates the event for the flyer. Small businesses come to our community. You could have added other tones to make it witty, make it professional, make it whatever you want, whether you're a business owner or a shopper. And then here's your timeline from September 15th. If you're going to be having this on October 10th, starting on the 15th, secure your venue, recruit your vendors, confirm your vendor list, begin your promotion, final logistics, do your reminder push, set up your prep, vendor setup. So it gives you a complete timeline. And then if you had the people for these tasks, you could ask it to assign people to each of those tasks. It already has your social media posts. Big news, neighbors, come to our weekend market. Gives you some hashtags to put in there. And then here's the image description, a warm, inviting scene with a weekend market vibe. Rows of colorful vendors under strings of lights. So if I were to take that and say, create an image with, paste that in, and it's using its DALL-E. I use a lot of different image generators. Image generators are like these. There's so many of them out there, and they all are excelling at different things. There's certain ones that have better hyperrealism. There's others that have better text rendering. It depends on what you want. There's a lot of different ones out there. And so this is, again, DALL-E's version. And in a few minutes, it will come up with something. And it's unfortunate that OpenAI is slow today. I was just looking at this. Okay. And as it's coming through now, I'm curious to see how the text comes out because if you don't understand how images creators write text, they don't actually understand what a letter is. So they just see that as a bunch of pixels that need to be formed into a certain shape. And so it creates each character as an image. And so it has to understand, it doesn't necessarily understand that it is a word, but this is actually doing pretty good with its words. Everything is spelled properly. Interesting, which is good. But again, based on colorful vendor booths under a string of lights, small business owners. And so it followed the results pretty well. So depending on what you want to do, you have the different capabilities of how to apply these prompts. And that is pretty much what I wanted to cover today. There are a few other things. Let's go back to AI in an hour and see what else I have here. AI responds better with structure. Random prompts get random results. Clear structured prompts get you consistent, useful outputs. So always try to use a format like create or craft, or again, context, roles, tone, and format are really the things that you have to do. If you have a role at the beginning and an audience, those are things that you should always get consistent in trying to use to make better prompts. And this is something you can start right away. And so here's your workshop. If you want, the next thing is to look at more prompting techniques. Get pro plans of your chat accounts. Pro plans just do offer more value. You can use specific industry apps for certain things. I have EngageCraft Suite for content creation and research. You can use other tools like Grammarly for grammar, or you can use, I don't know, there's so many out there that you can use that are specific for certain tasks. Going on, we have custom AI services for more either training or helping automate your AI. And then I also work with other groups. If you have business groups, religious organizations, networking groups, anybody who wants to learn more about AI, I can create custom workshops for them. And then, the best prompt is the one that you try right now. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start small, pick one, do it regularly, use a format, use a structure, and see what happens. You'll get better the more you do it. And so, any questions?
So, I do have a question. So, so they're not, I mean, that is the most used, right? Because it's the easiest one. That's the one everybody hears about. But like,
Exactly.
so, but like I have Copilot because I got it with whatever I have, so I'm not paying extra for it.
Right.
But so it's not bad to use that, right?
No, 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 not at all. In fact, if you're in the Microsoft world, Copilot is actually based on OpenAI. And so Microsoft's AI is not quite advanced. Of course, they're advancing, but Copilot as part of the Office suite, use it. It's fine. It's going to be OpenAI. And again, you can use the free versions of any of these others to get different results. And you'll be amazed because each one has been trained in different ways. And so you could use the exact same prompt in Copilot or Gemini or OpenAI or ChatGPT or Claude and get completely different output. And again, but any of them are going to be better if you apply that structured approach to the prompt.
Right. And I learned that pretty quickly because I was like, why am I getting no results? Like, I don't understand. But then I realized somebody told, like, I took one of those free Microsoft classes and I was like, oh, I have to tell it what I am. I can't, it doesn't just know.
Now, one thing that a lot of people don't know is also, if you're not satisfied with your prompt, ask the LLM, say, make this prompt stronger. I want to convey this. And it will rewrite the prompt for you and add a lot of the context. And so you can ask it to improve your prompt and get better. So that's also a good thing. In fact, I'll go back to here. in my GPTs, I actually have a prompt maker. And so I wrote a GPT that says, I want a prompt that will write a viral blog on woodworking. And so now it's saying, okay, I want a prompt, I'll write a viral blog on woodworking. It's going through and it is going to come up with, here's act as a highly skilled, world-class expert blogger, content strategist, copywriter, specialist. And it's just going through, it's a storytelling expert, it's a digital marketer, has deep understanding of everything. And so it's suddenly putting in all of this context. It's saying your prompt must include this output. And so now this is a really good prompt. And so it's one of those things that it wrote it for me. I just said, I want this, and suddenly it's like, wow, here's something that's really huge. And so if you look at GPTs, you can explore these and look at what type of GPT. There's a lot of them out there that have a lot of these functions that are already built in. And so that's one of the things I think Perplexity calls them artifacts. No, it was Claude. Claude calls them artifacts, but the same type of thing. They'll have these helper apps that are already there for you to use. And if you're good, like I say, I wrote my own. I have a few others. I did some for ad copy. For ad copy, I think this one was some Ad Genius, but writing URLs, who's your target audience, and it'll write some meta ads for you with the description and your long descriptions, your short descriptions, and stuff like that. And so it's a way to quickly write an ad. And so sometimes GPTs are really helpful. And you can, so what I do a lot of times is I have a collection of prompts that I've saved that I use for a lot of different things. And so one of the documents that are going to be in the share that I give you is also a lot of just ideas for writing better prompts.
Very cool. Thank you.
Sure. Anyone
Yeah,
else?
it's great, Chuck.
Awesome. So I hope
All right.
I hope this was beneficial and you learned something from it. I'm going to be doing these on a weekly basis. I was doing one-offs and I decided I'm going to do weekly. And so next week has another specific link that's talking about using Deal.ai to monetize your knowledge, how to create your own AI platform. And then the next week, it's going to start following. I'm going to call these the Tuesday Pulse. And that one is going to be on why you should validate your ideas before spending money on them. And then after that, I'm going to talk about no-code coding products and stuff like that. So each week, it's going to be a different subject. If you have ideas that you want to have a subject covered, I'm going to do these consistently on Tuesdays, 3 o'clock Eastern. Just to show you quickly for next week, this is my version of the white label, the deal, and I call mine EngageCraft Suite. And what I've done is create a bunch of different things. So my focus is helping people do research. And so I have a bunch of these apps that I wrote for doing trend analysis, market analysis, brand positioning, competitive analysis. I have things that I did for strategies, building business models, running ideas and startups, coming up with market campaigns, for copywriting. There's all sorts of things on writing business briefs, writing power hooks, helping write benefits, writing cold emails, landing pages, social posts. So those are things that I did. And then in the content, what Deal.ai gives you is 70 different AI apps. And when most people see it, it's like complete overwhelm. It's like, what do I do with these? So when you white label it, you can offer as many or as few as you want, and you can rebrand them. And so what I did was rebranded things like images. So they have things like logo makers and image makers and photorealistic image makers and things like that. And so I just rebranded them. They have all sorts of video tools that you can add in. And so then different types of tools that you may want to use. And so you can take that, come up with what things are beneficial for your business, create knowledge bases and custom applications and custom personalities based on your particular knowledge. include any of these other deal apps that may be beneficial to your clients and white label and brand it to yourself. And so you can either offer these to your clients as a add-on to your services, or you can charge them an additional fee to get access to your particular knowledge on a 24/7 basis. And so that's what I'll talk about next week. But that just gives you an idea of how you can build these AI platforms based on your particular knowledge. It's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
This is great. Thanks, Chuck.
Yeah,
Sure
Chuck.
thing.
That's good.
And so that's
Right.
it, unless there's any other questions. I'd love to see you again next week and any other weeks that are coming up. But I'm happy that you came in and gave me more practice on getting back into the swing of doing webinars. I enjoyed it.
That's great. Yep. Thanks. Have about
Right.
I did have another question, Chuck,
Yeah.
about voicing. for
Yes.
Chrome. Is that just in the Chrome extensions?
Yes, I believe the free version works on a lot of websites, but not all of them. And I think it's like $6 a month to, I think it was like, yeah, maybe $49 for the year to get the plugin. And what that does, it works with pretty much any website that you're in Chrome. And so you can do any of that voicing. But a lot of the tools themselves, like ChatGPT actually has the microphone that you can dictate directly in, but this Audio Scribe is, I believe, the company. Let's see, it's going to voice in, where is it? Voice in. It just starts it. Thought I'd go to it, but yeah, just turn that off.
Do you find it's better? Do you find that you get it hears you more clearly?
Yes, it does. And again, it depends on your environment. This one, well, turn it off. I don't want to keep doing it. There we go. Now it's going to have some weird thing in here. But yeah, it filters out a lot of the background noise. And again, the reason I like it is that my typing isn't the best, and I found that I kind of think as I type, but I find if I talk and think, it comes out more natural, and I get a better brainstorming, and so it's easier to come up with longer prompts.
Right. Well, I've been journaling now, and I've been using the voice, on my
Oh.
phone. And so now I'm used to talking to, a word, because I have one of those.
Okay.
So I was like, I haven't tried to talk to Copilot yet.
No,
So
you're PC based, right? You're not a Mac?
I'm a Mac.
Oh, you are a Mac. Okay. So there's also another app out there called Whisper. I haven't used it, but Whisper is becoming more popular. And the nice thing about Whisper is that it works on the entire Mac. It's not just browser based. And so any of your apps, you can use Whisper to do voice control. So you might
Oh,
want to look at that one.
okay. I'll look at that then.
Yeah, that's a Mac app, not a plugin for your browser.
I don't really, I know I should like Safari, but it's too complicated. So I like the Chrome.
Yeah, and Chrome, there's a lot of good things about Chrome, especially helping troubleshoot. I do a lot of the vibe coding stuff, and with Chrome, you can instantly go into the inspector and start looking at the error messages that are being generated behind the scene and try to troubleshoot stuff. And so, yeah, Chrome has a lot of nice features, but again, being Google, they track so much information. I mean, everybody's grabbing information, but Google grabs more information than anyone, and so Chrome gets a lot of stuff. And so,
I know, and
yeah.
I'm a big, I always say no to the cookies and all that stuff, but I
Right.
know only, that they're still doing, but I try to stop as much as I can, but it's just Chrome is so nice and easy, and I have, 4 Google accounts. I can switch between all 4 so quick and easy, and just run it so much easier.
Oh, that's one thing I did mention is that a lot of these AI tools you can also integrate directly into your Google Drive, and so it can automatically reference your documents and stuff like that. And so some of them will integrate with Calendar and Mail. Also, I would not recommend integrating with Mail because that's kind of weird. Calendars seem to be pretty safe, but the docs, if you have folders that you want to share, there's good integration points with automatically looking at your Google Drive for various resources.
Okay,
So,
that's awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Chuck. That was
Sure.
great. And I think I signed up for next week.
I think you did. I saw a couple of your reminders
Every
come through.
I was like, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah, okay.
Good.
So I'm going to send out an email with the link to the drive and get those 5 resources, including the prompts that I used for the demo and all the other stuff. So yeah, 5 docs in the Google Drive, and I'll send that link out after this.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.